I have to restart my camera every 25 minutes.
Okay, right.
Because it's got one of those annoying time limit nonsenses.
Yeah, that's why I went with the GoPro. Right, okay. That is, let's say 22, so at 5 past.
All right, well, hopefully it's right in front of me, so hopefully it'll beep or something.
Hopefully.
Right, stand by, hang on, I'll just give you a... just so you've got a frame of reference for the audio and stuff.
I'll try for me also, let's go. Beautiful.
I'll make you big on the screen as well so I can see your full face. There he is.
Oh, how do we do that then? How do you do that? How do you make it big, Andy?
Hang on, I'll ask my wife.
Tickle it. Oh, that's all right. I only need to see. I see your face. Right, folks. We're trying something new here. I can't do a live stream because my internet is pants. However, I thought, how about we pre-record it, podcast style? So that's exactly what we're going to do. If you're watching this, hello. This is Andy Mancam, if you've not seen him before.
Hiya!
And if you're
Cheers!
Listening... Oh, yeah, I've got a beer too. Hang on. Little plug. Brew Dog IPA.
Sin, actually, Brewdog have been making their own hand sanitizer.
Have they?
And yeah, they have. In their brewery, they've been making Brewdog hand sanitizer, sending it out to people.
Wow. Do you know,
great stuff.
These lads are from where I grew up. Well, the sort of town along the field from where I grew up. I grew up in a wee place called Mintlaw, in the northeast of Scotland. And I think the lads that set this up were from Fraserburgh, the Broch. So here's to you boys. Good on you.
Cheers.
Yeah, so I wanted to do something like this anyway. Andy, you know, this isn't because of what's going on at the moment, obviously, with the... Dare I say, can we say that word? Corona?
Yeah, the C word.
The C word, yeah, it's the new C word.
The other C word.
I wanted to start doing this, but I think now is probably better time than any, really, to crack on and get going with it.
Well, yeah, absolutely, because we're all kind of sadly a bit imprisoned, aren't we?
Yeah, what's the story over in Germany?
To be honest, mate, I think it's much the same situation as you guys have got over there,
right.
In that we're not allowed to meet more than one person that isn't in our household in public.
Yeah.
All non-essential shops are closed, oddly enough, except for hardware stores, which is quite funny.
For the DIY.
Yeah, but that's because apparently the handymen or the tradesmen, they call them Handwerker over here.
Handy people.
The very handy people. They need to get their materials, don't they? So so you're not allowed to meet more than one person who's not in your household. You're allowed to go out to do a bit of exercise. You're allowed to go to work. You're allowed to go shopping and that kind of stuff.
Right.
I think the only real difference is over here they've named it a bit differently. It's called a Kontaktverbot, which is kind of what it sounds like. We're not allowed to have contact with people. Okay. But we're allowed to go outside. Whereas over there, you're being encouraged just not to go out at all, aren't you?
Yeah, we tried the social distancing thing last week where, you know, I think they try to play on people's common sense and basically said,
Didn't go well, did it?
No, keep 2 meters apart, wise ahead, basically, you know what I mean? Just use some common sense. And people went to the park, they went to the beach, they were in the pubs. It was just... ridiculous. Sadly,
a lot of bikers joining in. I saw there's a big meet-up at Loomies, and I saw some Newlands corner gatherings.
Yeah, there was a thing went out, you know, Visor Down. Have you heard of Visor Down? They're a big online website, motorcycle website here, and they approached the government last week and said, look, can we still go out on our bikes? People were asking, can we still recreational go out? And the government said, well, actually, yes, you can, because you're solitary, you're wearing gloves, you've got your helmet on. That's fine, as long as, you know, you do not socialise close together, keep 2 meters apart, all the normal stuff.
Yeah, and people, definitely no dogging. And people seem to forget that when they got to the calf. They turn up at the calf and then just congregate and socialise as normal. So I read somewhere that the meet that was at Loomies was a bit of a tribute to a girl Jill, is it? She sadly lost her life last week.
I heard about this. Yeah, I didn't know Jill. I've never met her before.
Me neither. But yeah, unfortunately,
apparently
she was involved in an RTA.
Yes,
but apparently they all said we're going to keep our helmets on to be socially distant. Socially distant. And obviously the weather was amazing, so as soon as everybody was on the car park, that was out the window.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just bikers. It was, all the parks, the beaches. We got friends down in Newquay and stuff, and they were saying the place was just rammed full. So
really?
Yeah, we knew it was coming. So yeah, the lockdown, or is it a lockdown? I think it's a lockdown. I think it's an official lockdown now. But
it's a light close down.
Yeah, a close down. Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at really at the moment. It's just essential key workers are out and about, and that's it, or should be.
Yep.
And that's it. Yeah,
should be.
Something that's amazing is the term key worker. We used to think it was like nurses, emergency services, that sort of stuff. But it's times like this you realise how many actual key workers there are out there. Factory workers, of course, the delivery drivers, bin men, all that sort of stuff.
If they disappeared, all the countries would just come to a halt, wouldn't they? They'd just grind to a horrible stop.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but oh well, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're all in for the ride.
We are, mate. Yeah, and it's sadly starting to affect people now. I've got friends who are now either coming down with the symptoms or they've been diagnosed with it. So thoughts go out to them. But anyway, let's not chat about the C word all night.
No.
I put a little thing out on some social media saying that we were going to be doing this, and you folks have very kindly risen to the challenge and you've submitted some questions. So what I'll do first...
I've read a couple of these already.
Have you? Right, I'll go first to my clan over on Patreon. What have we got here? Okay, Stephen Holmes. He's asking you, Andy, what will you miss most in terms of riding whilst we're in lockdown, and what do you plan to do when the restriction is lifted? Over to you.
I think what I'm going to miss most in terms of riding during the lockdown is probably riding.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just I haven't ridden the bike, unfortunately, properly, other than going to work for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
But I was really, really, really looking forward to getting out. I was just so looking forward to it. And I heard that the weather was going to change. And sure enough, we've had glorious, glorious weather here the last couple of days.
Yeah, same here.
Which in Hamburg is, you have to pay extra for that. So yeah, I'm just gonna miss being able to do it. Simple as that. I mean, technically in Germany we can still go out on the bike. We can still go for a ride. Obviously, you're not allowed to meet anybody, and then naturally there's the whole subject that's flying around a bit about, do you want to put the risk of putting more burden on the medical services? But
absolutely,
that aside, it's obvious. The thing I'm going to miss most about riding is riding. Can't do it so much. And obviously there's always the argument that, I'm just off to the shops, or I'm just off to do this, I'm just off to do that. But the nearest bends and twisties to me are about 2.5 hours away, so I can't really get away with that.
That's a long detour.
I'm just off to get some
shops.
bread. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do when all of the restrictions are lifted is, I think I'm going to go for a weekend in the Harz. I've been planning to do that all through the winter, because I've had a lot of work on the end of last year.
Yeah, you've been a busy man,
recording. Haven't you? I really have, unfortunately. It's been really tough to put any videos out. So all the time I was telling myself, as soon as spring gets here, getting on the bike, I'm going for a weekend in the Harz.
Yeah.
And it's not happening now. So that's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, for me, it's the social side. I really enjoy the social side. I'm not talking about, drinking the beers and sitting in a cafe. I mean, just getting out there and meeting up with people. And I've loved with the whole Teapot thing. It's just a great vehicle to get out there, not only around the UK, but, I've come over and met you guys in Germany. We were going to be doing that, and hopefully we still will at some point this year.
Yeah,
but it's the social interaction that I miss, to be honest, which is where this comes in. This is good.
Yeah, it's a good methadone, isn't it, for the crack that we're not allowed anymore.
For us bike junkies.
Okay. I've mixed me drugs there, haven't I? I've mixed me drugs. Doctors told me not to do that.
The voices will come back. Next one we got here is Nudge Dre. Full list of bikes you've both ridden. Which is your favourite and why?
Oh, bloody hell. How long have we got?
Yeah. Well, mine... Okay, well, ridden, yeah, okay, there's a list of ridden, but owned, I started on a GSX-R 600 when I passed my test, had that for about 8 months, then moved to the thousands, and I was on Gixxer thousands pretty much. I went a bit daft. I basically had a new GSX-R 1000 every year until I went around the world. So I had an L9, an LO, an L1, then the L2. Took the L2, oh no, it was an L1, 61 plate. I took that on my round the world trip, came back, bought a TeapotOne, new TeapotOne
By the time
V4.
you came back from the round the world trip, your bike was a bit like Trigger's broom, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was a bit. She's still there though. She is still there. I bought the TeapotOne V4, had that for about 8 months, 7-8 months. Loved the bike, but the engine and the reliability was shocking.
Really?
So I got rid of that. Got another GSX-R. I got an L5 GSX-R 1000 and had that for about... Again, probably only about 8 or 9 months, and I traded that for the Triumph 1200. Had that for about 8 or 9 months, and it went back to the dealership 6 times in 8 months. So I'd had enough of that bike, and I traded that for a GS, and then that's me.
Yeah. That was the end.
That was it, yeah. I had Herman. Then Herman got smashed when I got knocked off the bike, 2017. And then I got Helga, and I've had Helga ever since. What about
Still
yourself?
happy with it?
Oh, yeah, I love it. I mean, there's things it lacks. The GS, especially the 1200, it hasn't got the bollock tingler, that factor. It's not got the bollock tingling factor. I don't ride it and like things like track days, you take it to a track day, it's great in the corners, but you get on the straights and everything goes by you. But you get to the corners, and if you've got people in line, average riders, you can have some fun with, definitely.
Yeah.
So it does like everything 85%, 90% perfectly. So it does me.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, 1250.
There's a guy in my garage has just moved in with the GS, and it just amazed me again to see it next to my bike, just how much of a horse it is. It's friggin' massive.
It's a big old thing, yeah. What have you got now?
I've got still got the FZ1.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
The Yamaha.
Yeah.
Still loving it as well, actually. Yeah, so from the beginning for me, I passed my test, and then my dad lent me his Yamaha XS 400 SE. That was an absolute pig of a bike, to be honest. It didn't like corners. It did like petrol. And it liked making a lot of noise. Yeah. But it was brilliant. Just to have a bike that went wah and did stuff. That was brilliant. Yeah. So then after that, I took a rather pedestrian direction and got myself a Kawasaki ER5.
Right.
Which, I mean, as boring as everybody thinks they are, I went touring on France in that bike, 2 up, and it was brilliant. It was just the feeling of freedom, just to have my very own bike, because the Yamaha was a loaner. So yeah, the Kawasaki, even though it was a little 500, it was bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
After that, what did I do after that? After that, I had a bit of a break. Unfortunately, moved to London, lived in the city, so couldn't afford a bike down there.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got Polly, the FZS 600, the Phaser. And loved the absolute pants off of that bike. That was brilliant. That was an absolutely brilliant bike. And that was the bike that I wanted when I very first started learning to have a bike.
Was it?
Yeah, that was like the Phaser with the square headlights. That was back then. Imagine a world where the Phaser is a futuristic, modern-looking bike. I loved it. And then had to get rid of the Phaser because I came over here, and the complications of making an English bike German was... without speaking any German it was too much. So binned that, got the Versys 650, which was unbelievably faithful steed, thousands and thousands. I think I did in the end about 50,000 kilometres of touring on that bike.
Did you?
And yeah, it was bloody brilliant. It was. A lot of people ask me on a lot of my videos, would I say that the 650 is enough for touring, or is it too small? Do I need a litre bike to go touring?
Right.
And I said to all of them, not at all. I mean, I had that bike for I think 3 years altogether. And touring was always a pleasure. The only thing that got on my tits was the vibrations. And it just, loved it. Absolutely loved it. So then after I got rid of that, it was to get the phaser, to go finally up into my litre bike ownership area and go for 1,000cc. And that's what I've got now. Yamaha Phaser FZ1.
That's the one you had when we met, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah. I mean, looking back, that sounds lovely.
It is a fine machine. It's a little bit more refined now. I've got a Boss carbon fibre can on it, so it's a little bit longer, a little bit bigger, but apparently it gives it more power. So
what about the can?
The can is heavier, it's shorter. Oh no, hang on, I've got them mixed up.
Nice. Right, so we've done Stephen, we've done Nudge. We've got a lot of questions here. I hope you've got a lot of beer.
Speaking of which, hang on a sec.
Oh, he's gone. Right, he's back.
Hiya. Had to get my bottle opening elephant.
Good effort. Right, we've got a question here from Haggis. A question for us both. If you had to choose only one country in the world where you had to ride your motorcycle, and only in that country for the rest of your life, which country would that be and why?
Ooh, I'm going first, am I?
It's up to you. I've got it straight away, but it's up to you.
Oh, okay. You go first. I still need to think about it a little bit, actually. I've actually read this one earlier on, and I've been thinking about it all day, and I'm finding it quite tough.
Oh, you've cheated. I haven't looked.
Have you not?
No.
I didn't read all of them. I read a couple because I was on your Patreon page.
All right.
Tasty plug.
Right. For me, Spain.
I thought it would be. I was actually watching your Pico's trip this morning over breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
And thinking, I think this is a done deal. Bruce is going to say Spain.
It is for me, yeah. It's got everything I want for biking. It's close by. It's cheap. It's really bike friendly. The old Bill don't care as long as you're not taking the mick in the built up places, the towns, the villages, the cities. If you save your fun and games out for the mountains, they don't care. They're fine about that. I've been on the N260 in Spain, and I've been sat behind two old Bill who were on bikes, and they literally turned around and were looking at me like, "What are you doing? Get by!" And they literally just popped themselves up on the back wheel, wheeling, and just waved me by. They don't care. So Spain awesome. For me, absolutely.
Yeah, what's not to love? That sounds good. Yeah, well, I have a fear that I haven't really ridden much in an enjoyable setting in Spain. My only experience was going through the Pyrenees in the wet without waterproofs.
Nice.
It was the biggest fail of my life. But maybe we'll come back to that later. I think if I'd been to Spain, maybe I'd say similar, because some of the views in your videos, mate, that place is just magical. It looks incredible. It really does.
Picos are the Pyrenees are special, but Picos probably my ultimate place, I think.
Yeah, like you said, it looked like it had everything. But I think from my experience where I have been, I'd have to say Switzerland.
Oh,
I think definitely Switzerland. Yeah. The place is just... If you can ignore the fact that the speed limits are ridiculous and the police do care, they care a lot.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the best bits, if you can do 50 miles an hour, you're a better rider than me anyway, because the best bits are just... It's like a varicose vein on a hill. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's very true. Absolutely. The Alps, the Swiss Alps, Austrian Alps, all around there, they win as far as scenery goes. It's just amazing. It's just
breathtaking, isn't it?
But it's that ever-present fear of the old Bill over there, because they don't muck about. Your bike gets impounded, and you're talking massive penalties as Barron found out in 2014.
They don't care about hiding those speed cameras either.
No, they don't. No, so that's why that one doesn't feature for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think I just kind of, when I think back to it, I think it didn't worry me too much, because the places where I had the most fun was on the really, really twisty passes, the really not super technical. Like, I'm not a big fan of endless switchbacks. That doesn't do it for me.
Right.
But still, the ones that I loved were left, right, left, right, left, left, right, right. It's just constant turns and bends, and you can't get the speed up. But they're the ones that I enjoy the most.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I did read one of the other questions, so I won't spoil that just yet.
That might be the next one from Paul Jacques. Where would you like to ride in the world but haven't?
Oh, yeah. For me, that's easy. Norway.
Oh, yeah. You're not been to Norway? I thought you'd done Norway.
Never. I've never done it. Never done it.
Yeah, Norway's special. Expensive, but special.
Yeah. This is the only thing that's put me off so far, to be honest, mate. Is just the. I'm located perfectly. I can 2 hours through Denmark, ferry to Norway, and I'm in.
Yeah.
But excuse me. The cost. It's just the cost. Yeah. It's difficult to put together that much of a chunk of money.
Yeah.
To do a trip that's worthwhile, because I think you need 2 weeks at least.
Easily, yeah. And if you want to go all the way to Nordkapp at the very top and back, then even 2 weeks, you're pushing it. You are pushing. Yeah. Depends what way you go, obviously, but you got to take your time there. It's gorgeous.
Absolutely. Right. And they don't like the speeding either, do they?
No. I've literally seen the old Bill hiding in the ditch there, in the middle of nowhere, absolute middle of nowhere. And big long straight, and I was just plodding along anyway. And I looked, and there was a WPC, a female officer, like that. She was lying in the ditch with a speed camera. Lying in the ditch.
Hashtag slow news day.
Yeah. I remember the day I left and crossed over into Finland, right at the very top, right at the border more or less, they had just a random stop check, an old Bill car at the side of the road. Wasn't the border or anything like that. And he was randomly breath testing people. And I had to laugh. I blew and I was zero. And he was saying,
you've got to be dedicated, haven't you, out there to have a drink on the road?
He said to me, why is there something funny? And I said, to be perfectly honest, I would love to be able to afford to drink here, but it's like £11 for a can of like White Lightning cider.
It's nuts,
at the supermarket. So, yeah, Norway's special. For me, where would I like to ride in the world but haven't? Ooh, there's a few, actually.
It's difficult for you because you've been everywhere.
Well, no, there's a lot of places.
You've literally been around the world.
There's a lot of places I didn't get to. So I'd love to do the Dead Horse Road in Alaska, right at the very top, the old Alaskan Pipeline Road, the Ice Road Trucker Road. I'd love to do that. Amazing. I'd love to ride through Alaska and Yukon, because I literally had to stop right from British Columbia. You go north into Yukon on the Alaskan Highway, and I had to stop just as I was coming up to Yukon, because I was running out of time. I had to get back to New York. So I'd love to do that top bit, and I would love to do the very bottom of South America down to Ushuaia. I'd love to do that stretch down there. I'd love to ride in Argentina, do a lot more of South America. Africa, believe it or not, there's a lot of Africa I'd love to see.
Tell you what, there's one that I was looking at just last week, actually. I was looking at ferries and things, the week before, just before everything got shut down.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at ferries to try and price up and maybe think about Norway. And then I was looking at the ferry routes, and I found this one ferry route that went out of the top of Denmark off into the middle of nowhere. So I followed it on Google Maps, following the little dotted line, and you can't zoom out because then the dotted line disappears.
Yeah, that's right,
so I was following the dotted line, went to Iceland.
Yep.
So you can get a ferry from Denmark to Iceland, and they have a ring road. They call it the Ring Road, and it's a road that goes all the way around the entire island. And apparently, it's gobsmacking how beautiful it is.
I've been to Iceland. I was
thinking that's on my list now. Have you?
Yeah. I went there. I actually went there to propose to my wife when my trip went a bit wrong in Africa and I ended up back in the UK. I'd asked her dad if I could marry her before I went, and obviously he'd said yes, and then I buggered off around the world. But when I came back, I thought, right, we'll go to Iceland for Valentine's weekend. And she's always wanted to see the Northern Lights, so I thought, we'll go get the Northern Lights there and I'll pop the question. Well, the night we were due to go and see the Northern Lights, literally at 5 o'clock, all this fog and everything came in, so they cancelled it. And I just thought, this is a sign. That's a sign. It's an omen. So I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And then then I got the opportunity to go again, thanks to Delta Energy. They sort of stepped up and gave me the opportunity to go again. So that was it. Off I went, and my old father-in-law must have been thinking, God, he's proper bottled it here.
Yeah.
But
he was probably counting his chickens, because he just needed some groceries, and he thought he was going to go to normal Iceland.
Yeah, exactly.
You can marry my wife if you go to Iceland and get me some of those prawn dippers.
That's it. Beige.
Marry me wife, marry me daughter.
But Nathan, do you know Nathan Millward? Have you ever heard of him? He's the guy that rode from Australia back to the UK on a postie bike. Never heard of him?
No.
He's done a couple of... Oh, yeah, amazing. Really nice fella. He's written a couple of really good books. They're well worth a read. But he went to Iceland last year, year before. He did that, just jumped on the ferry and off he went. And he said it's a pretty special place. I'd like to go and see the Faroe Islands as well. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's the same ferry line, isn't it? Because it's the same.
So, yeah.
Same direction.
Yeah. Right, so we've done that then. Okay, another one from Haggis. One for both of us. What is the most embarrassing or funniest situation you've ever been in? You can have that.
Oh, okay. Do you know what? I did read this one, and I'm glad I did, because I really struggled to think of anything. And I don't know whether that's because I just don't have embarrassing moments, or I don't really get embarrassed that much.
Right.
Because of the amount of stupid shit that I've done in my life. I don't know. I think the most embarrassing, I thought about it, and this is embarrassing on so many levels. It's when I was living in London, as well as being a motor vlogging international superstar, I am also a struggling musician, a struggling professional musician. And when I was living in London, a guy I know, still know, called me up, Neil. So thanks for this, Neil. Thanks for this wonderful opportunity. He called me up and said, and I forgot to mention, actually, Neil at that time was in a Glee tribute band.
What?
So Neil phoned me up and said,
sorry to interrupt. Is your camera still got enough battery?
Oh, yep. Sorry. Hang on. We had 2 minutes left, but good work. Great work.
That's half a can of beer in. It may not be as good the next time. Right, you just sync that up, yeah? Lovely.
Yeah, give you another clacker board.
That's a one. Right, sorry, yeah, Glee tribute band.
Yeah, Neil was in a Glee tribute act,
right,
doing events across the country, and he phoned me up and said, this was on a Friday morning, he phoned me up and said, Andy, one of our singers is dropped out. Can you step in, please? The gig is tomorrow. We need you to come and sing some cheesy pop a cappella cover nonsense with us. Yeah. But the thing is, he said to me, this was, as I said, Friday morning. He called me before I'd had my coffee, called me before I'd done my ablutions. And he said, thing is, I need to meet you right now. We need to meet up immediately. So we need to go through the choreography. We need to go through the set list. We need to give you the backing tracks. Right. So I quickly threw some clothes on, ran out to meet him. We did a bunch of... We actually met in the park. How embarrassing is this? Does the start? This is one of the first levels. We were in the park doing choreography to a Glee tribute act. Yeah. In the sunshine in front of everybody. But we took the whole afternoon doing that. And then he said, right, your train is... The gig was in Manchester as well, by the way. So he said, your train tomorrow gets there at 12 o'clock. So I'll meet you at the station. Got up the next day... Typical, I was a bit younger, I was a bit less motivated, so I woke up far too late, far too hungover, didn't have time again for a coffee, didn't have time again to complete my daily ablutions. Right. Jumped on the train, went to Manchester, everything looked great. Right, okay, we're going to do this gig, I'm going to make some money, I'm a professional singer, I'm living the life, I'm making it, #winning. We met the manager of this band, was quite a young girl. I think she was, at that time, she was a little bit older than me, so she was mid-20s. And we met at her house in Manchester, had a quick sit down, introduced each other or introduced ourselves to each other, and she offered me a coffee. And I was thinking, oh, Jesus, I am gasping. I haven't had a coffee for 2 days. I would bloody love one. So she made us all a coffee, had a sip. And you know that moment when you have a sip of coffee, first thing in the morning.
And it works,
and then
it's
just
magic.
like, the train's coming, I need to get out of the station, sharpish. So I made my excuses, went off to the toilet, and then about 5 minutes after I'd disappeared off into the toilet, there was a knock on the door. Andy, you're not using the toilet for a poo, are you? Doesn't flush properly.
Oh, no.
And my world just went... And
had you created a new life form in there?
Yeah, by that time I'd already downloaded about 15 pounds of explosive material. And I tried everything. I flushed the toilet what felt like 1,000 times. I poked stuff in there. I even, at one point, I used the coat hanger that my shirt was on for the gig.
You did not.
A wire coat hanger. I stretched it out and went in there to try and get this thing out. And then eventually there's the moment where I had to just... open the door to the sound of the do, 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 do. Walk into the lounge. Look, I may have done something.
Oh, no.
I think I might have obliterated your toilet. And,
nice to meet
and I
you.
had to leave it like that. We had to go off to the gig.
No.
And I had to leave her toilet in that state. And then she obviously never offered me another gig. And... I remember speaking to Neil a few months after that and saying to him, do you think she's mad at me? And I said, well, I don't know, but she did say to me, he properly ruined my fucking toilet. So, a beautiful relationship came to an end. But I was so horrified.
If a job's worth doing...
Yeah, I'm just sorry that my story had to be about poo.
It's quite all right. God, right. Most embarrassing thing. I'm a bit like you, really. I don't tend to get too embarrassed anymore. You can't really, can you? But my stag do was pretty embarrassing. I'll put a picture up on the screen now to show what they dressed me up as on the first night. Bit of a backstory to my stag do. I didn't know where we were going, proper traditional style. I knew what day it was, but I didn't know where we were going. So I turned up at I had two best men, turned up at one of my best men's houses, rode there on the bike. On the way there, I'm on the M20 motorway, and I suddenly thought to myself, I don't remember putting my passport in my bag.
Oh.
I remember getting it out and putting it on the desk in my office, but I don't remember putting it in my bag. So I pulled over on a hard shoulder. It was an emergency. And I checked, no passport. So I was like, so bombed it to the next exit, turned round, bombed it home, into my office, and there in the bin is my passport. So where it had been on my desk, and I'd taken my rucksack, my bag round, and slang it on my shoulder, it had knocked the passport off the desk into the bin. So when I looked at my desk before I left, have I forgotten anything? There's nothing on the desk. Happy days. So anyway, got the passport. Whew, that's a close one. Rode all the way to my mate's, got to his house, told him the story, took the passport out to show him, got my passport, put it on the side, got changed into my civvies out of my bike kit. We jumped in his car, drove all the way to Stansted or Luton. I think it was Luton Airport. Drove all the way there, terrible traffic. We get there, woof. We're in the old, what do they call it when you park? You park your car at the car park and then jump on a bus to get to the airport. Park and ride thing. So we're doing that. Just before he locks the car up, he said, right, everyone got your passports? Everyone pulled out the passport. I'm patting myself down I thought, it's one of you lot. What have you done with my passport? And they were all looking at me like, no, what? So I was like, well, I haven't got my passport. One of you's taken it. I thought they pickpocketed me when I was in the car. No, they hadn't. When I got to his house and got out my bike kit, I'd left it in my bike kit and put my civvies on. So we then had to call another mate of ours to ride to my mate's house. Thankfully, he had a nanny, a live-in nanny, so she opened the garage up for him, and there's my passport. And then he had to ride to us on his bike through all this traffic. and he didn't arrive in time. So I literally stood outside the airport waiting for him to turn up and watched my flight with all my mates on it taxi down the runway.
For your Stag Do?
Yeah, for my own Stag Do. They're all WhatsApping me and FaceTiming me from on the plane with the stewardesses waving at me. And I watched the airplane take off. So I got my passport, I got the next flight. When I landed, a couple of mates had waited for me and we made our way into... I can't even remember where I went to. Somewhere in Eastern Europe, somewhere like that. So it might be in Estonia or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, we've gone into the city centre, gone into the apartment where we're staying, and the sort of concierge is there, and he's like, Mr. Smart, he said, your friends are all waiting for you. They've given me this. You have to wear this. So I was like, oh, thanks, I got it. And it was one of those morph suits. You know, those skin-tight Lycra morph suits? I don't know if you've realised this, but I'm not really the physique to wear a skin-tight anything. And this thing was probably designed to fit a small child, and I had to put this Power Ranger morph suit on. It left nothing to the imagination. And I got collected by this lovely young lass, and she took me on a pub crawl all around the city and got me absolutely smashed on local liqueurs and stuff, and eventually we met up with all my mates, and the game was a good one. I was done. I remember them turning up, don't remember anything else. Woke up in the morning, they tried to cut my beard and they couldn't. The scissors physically wouldn't cut my beard. Teflon. So yeah, at the time I didn't really care, but the next day when I saw the pictures, I couldn't believe I was out in public like that. But
Jesus.
Right, so that'll do me. Next one. Andrew the Biker Bug. What's it say here? Awesome that you migrated to the S1000R. Did you? You haven't got an S1000R.
No, there's a bit of a miscommunication, I think. The photo that you used on the post about this video podcast, that was actually on a Lois Motorrad, the company that do all of the accessories and bits and bobs in Germany.
Yeah, you guys do a lot with them, don't you?
Sadly, not so much anymore. They haven't called me since that event. I don't know what I did wrong, but yeah, they hired a fleet of BMW bikes and Ducatis as well, actually, and we went to the Italian Alps to South Tyrol for the weekend, and that was one of the bikes I got to ride. It was amazing, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So sadly, I haven't upgraded to the S1000. I mean, it was a lovely bike. It was an absolutely beautiful bike to ride, but it was unfortunately a bit too small for me.
Yeah. You're quite a tall guy, aren't you? You're about, what are you, 6'4", 6'3",
6'3" and a half. Depends on the weather.
Yeah, you're a smidgen bigger than me.
A bit shorter now. Now the hair's gone.
Right, Mark Kennedy, ask Andy what's the best road or route he's ever done.
Yeah, so far that's easy for me. San Bernardino Pass in the Alps. Nice. It was absolutely stunning. It's just the pass that's got everything. Like, for a start, it's got kind of almost Welsh-style sweeping, rolling roads through forests, along streams, through valleys, and this is all before you get to the proper mountain pass. And then as soon as you start to go up, it snakes left and right and all over the place. But the amazing thing about it is all of the switchbacks, almost all of the switchbacks, they're just a bit rounder than usual. They're just a bit softer. So all of the switchbacks are more like loops, and they loop around and up and down, so that instead of having the whole jam on the brakes, knock it down to first gear, slam it to the side, coast it round, tip it up, jam on the throttle again, you can actually keep your speed through and get a real gentle sweep through all of the bends.
He's getting
absolutely amazing. Oh, I really am. Every time I talk about the San Bernardino Pass, I get a little bit moist. Has to be said. It's I absolutely loved it. I went there with Smokey Bar. Oh yeah. And as we were riding, as we were on it, even we were both just constantly saying, "This is the best road I've ever ridden. This is the best pass I've ever seen." And we'd already spent the whole week on all of the big bangers from Switzerland. So we were on the Grimsel, Furka, Suston, we were on the Trimola. We'd done all of that stuff, and then we left this one till almost till last by accident. And we had to go a bit further to get there, and on the way we were like, oh god. oh, 2 hours to get to this pass. It better be bloody good. And then when we got there, oh Jesus, it was spaftastic. We would just absolutely loved the crap out of it.
I think I've seen that vid of you and Smoky Bar. I'm sure is that a year or two old?
Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah. I do remember seeing that. I remember Smoky Bar being on one of your vids. Yeah, I'm sure. Right, what we've got here. Ed Byrne, Aussie guy. Question for the panel. Exactly how stupid does a person have to be to buy an 1150 RT sight unseen and then to send the engine to a bloke who broke his ankle and can't work for 6 to 8 weeks? And finally, should such a fool actually be trusted to sit on such a bike and start it? Now, I know I've had a good chat with Ed.
I get the impression this is asking for a friend kind of a question.
Yeah, it's exactly what he's done, sadly. Never mind it. Ed, mate, good luck with that. I hope you get it on the road.
The thing is, I can sympathise with that kind of luck. I really can. How stupid does someone have to be to finally start getting involved with the stock market just before the coronavirus?
No, did you?
Oh, mate, I did. I decided, right, I've been saving money, being a proper good grown-up, and I've been working a lot. So I thought, it's time me and my wife had a future. I'm going to start investing. We're going to make this money work for us. Yeah. And it was like 3 days later, it just went... Man. So, I think Norway might have to wait till next year.
Oh, jeez, mate, my heart goes out to you. Well, all you can do now, mate, is wait, because it will come back. It will come back. It has to.
Yeah. It just means I have to wait for the next 50, 60 years. I mean, luckily I'm young.
Well, I can sympathise with you there because up until 3 days ago, I was employed by basically the government, so I had a nice secure wage, and what a time to go self-employed. Oh well.
Yeah, if you'd have waited another month,
mate. Well, but almost everybody is in the same boat. Just about everybody's in the same boat. So, we're all in it together. You got to make do, haven't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is. We're just going to have to all muddle through.
It is. And it'll pass. It will pass. Eventually, it'll pass.
Luckily, motorbikes are cheap.
Getting cheaper every year. Yeah. Steve Mason, how do you keep comfortable on a long journey to keep the bum from going numb? Well, for me, I used to get asked that a lot because riding on the Gixxer and being a big fat lump, people used to say, you must get sore on that bike. And I sort of... This is the analogy I used, is that, well, every hour and a half, you need to fill up with fuel anyway. If you've got a normal bike with a normal sort of tank range, 14 to 17 litres, normally within an hour and a half, you've got to fill up with fuel, haven't you? So all I do is just, jump off the bike for 5-10 minutes, have a quick stretch, and I'm good to go. And then it's other things that I say to people, if you don't do any sport, you do no sport whatsoever, no exercise, and then all of a sudden you go out and have a game of football, the next day you're going to be in tatters. And biking's exactly the same, isn't it? If you're not used to going out and doing 2, 3, 4, 500 miles, then you're going to be sore. So
you've got to be bike fit.
Absolutely, yeah. Time in the saddle, isn't it, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think as well, it depends what kind of riding you're doing as well. I always find that if I'm on the motorway, my arse is trying to kill me after half an hour. It just wants to end my life.
Yeah, because you're just static all the time.
Yeah, whereas if I'm doing, for example, the San Bernardino pass, I could have ridden that all day long without a single moment of pain in my arse because you're shifting around, your weight's moving, which means your blood's moving. And
absolutely,
I think that's one thing you can do, isn't it? Just try and keep the riding interesting so the blood keeps moving and you keep exercising and also the less that you put your weight dead on your arse, the less your ass is going to hurt. So the more you can try and support the weight on the pegs and that kind of shit.
That's it.
And also you can get, I've got an SW Motec. It's like what's it called? It's an air cushion. It's kind of like the Air Hawk, but I've got one of those which helps.
Yeah.
Although I find that not so good when you want to do spirited riding because then it's something between you and the seat, and I don't really like that.
Yeah,
I think so when you're on the motorway, great. When you're not, but then luckily, when you're not on the motorway, you don't need the cushion. So
this is it. Yeah, absolutely. Because as you said, you're keeping the blood moving, aren't you?
Yeah, and also like you were saying with sport, I found I've had tours that I've been on when I've had a really lazy winter and I've done nothing.
Yeah.
And my arse always hurts more than tours I've had where I've kept fit and done some exercise.
Right.
Because I think, again, because you're not taking any of the weight in your core, you're not taking any of the weight in your legs, you just sit like a sack of shit through your arse on the seat and it goes numb. But if you keep fit, so do your Pilates, kids.
That's it. It's the core as well, though, isn't it? You know, grip the tank with your knees and take the weight off your arms. So you're not putting any weight on your wrists, really. You're just lightly touching the bars, aren't you?
Do you actually find that your arse hurts more now when you're on the GS?
No. I believe it or not.
Because it's a lot more upright, isn't it? It's a lot more...
No, but then again, you know, I've got plenty padding in my bottom. I'm blessed with some quite substantial natural padding all over my body.
I imagine the GS seat is a little bit more substantial than the GSXR seat as well.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I occasionally, if I'm feeling particularly melancholy, I'll go out into my garage and I'll sit on the beast. And I struggle to get my feet on the pegs. How the hell did I do this? Not even in my leathers. And I think, how the hell did I do? You know, I've done 102,000 miles on that bike, and you think, how?
So it reminds me of another embarrassing moment I had when I went, after a bunch of recommendations on video comments, that I should try out a Kawasaki Z1000SX.
Oh, yeah.
I went down to the dealership, and I was going down there to try out... what was I tried? I think I tried the Versys 1000, and I'd organised a tryout of the Versys 1000. When I was in there, they had a Z1000SX in there, and I thought, oh yeah, that looks pretty tasty. I'll have a sit on that. So I swung a leg over, put my foot on the pegs, instantly got cramp in both of my hips. Oh. Just like, Jesus, I'm suddenly 60. Young man, can you help me off of this bike? It was awful. It was just absolutely awful. So yeah, sadly, I think time for stuff like that is a little bit behind me.
That's a horrible feeling, that, isn't it? When you're like you're waiting at some lights or something, and you've got your feet down, and then as you pull away, you just bring your foot up onto the peg, and then all of a sudden you get that cramp shooting down your leg. Oh, it's horrible.
That's horrible.
Right, Ed Bourne's back. More quick fire questions. What's the fastest and best way to get tyre black? What's the fastest and best way to get tyre black out of the wife's jeans? I take it this is
preemptively stop wearing the wife's jeans.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Why do all watermelon flavoured sweets and anything else artificially flavoured to resemble watermelon all taste like absolute garbage? You're on your own with that one. Is it now acceptable to wear a woman's panties on your face? Do they have to be your partners? Oh, right. We'll leave it at that. You're on my Patreon. Yeah. Have a read. Yeah. Right, next one. Nick Turnbull, when are you top vloggers going to get together again and do a challenge like the one you did with TMF and his aeroplane? Great entertainment. Obviously nothing anytime soon, but maybe when this virus thing is over. And thanks for keeping us all entertained with a new Top Gear for motoring related fixes. Well, we love
Thanks very much.
Yeah, we genuinely loved doing that. And
that was bloody brilliant. That was. I absolutely loved it. Even still feel a little bit guilty that I kind of just shoulder barged my way onto the team for that one.
Not at all. It worked out though, didn't it? It absolutely worked out.
It was brilliant. That was one of the best days riding I've ever had. It was just the fact that it's obvious that all of the Top Gear stuff is as fake as it comes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's full on Trump style fake news, isn't it? You can see it is, but we actually did it. We didn't fake anything, and it all happened as quick as it happened.
Yeah, and fate just worked in our favour, really. You know, it was not fabricated at all. The thing.
I tell you what, actually, I don't know if it made the final cut. I don't think it did actually. But I went through the footage again later on, and I looked, and that fuel line that was off when they took off the first time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, Rich said afterwards, he said, I noticed that when TMF did the initial check to leave first thing that morning, and he just thought, well, Andy's really meticulous, so he must have noticed it must be okay.
Yeah.
So he never mentioned it. And they did have problems starting the plane, apparently, that morning. They couldn't get the plane started. Well, that's why.
And now we know why. Because it nearly exploded.
Yeah, I know, yeah. The thing is, though, is that, we all thought, we genuinely thought this was YouTube gold, didn't we? We thought, oh my God, we've cracked it. We have cracked it with this vid because it was such good content.
The buzz between us, the messages that we were sending each other was just like, oh Jesus Christ, which colour Bentley am I going to get to start with?
Yeah. But the videos crashed. I mean, like even
awful.
Every single one of us, they're one of our worst performing videos. All across everybody.
My outtakes video got more clicks than the actual video.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good the outtakes one.
Good material. But it just doesn't. It kind of. I'll be honest, mate. For a little while, it shook my faith in the future of YouTube because it just made me think. Well, I don't know. Then I don't know. I'm out. I've just got nothing. I've got nothing.
You start thinking, don't you? Because when I was editing that. We were all to and forward across the WhatsApp group, weren't we? We were like, this stuff is gold. Because there was only, I had an edit, John had an edit, and I think you did your own edit as well, didn't you?
No, I took John's edit and then just touched up a few bits.
Right, yeah. So
that's what she said.
Okay, to be fair, exactly what she said. To be fair, there are only sort of 2-3 versions of it, but to the same extent. My edit's different to John's, and you've tweaked yours as well. So there are genuinely 3 different versions there to have a look at. But they just got panned.
It was horrendous. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense to me though, because Andy TMF's video performed considerably worse than any of his other videos.
Yeah,
when you'd kind of think, okay. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't even know how to explain why we all did so terribly, because the video was. It was one of the best things I've ever been involved with, and it was the most fun, and I was so proud of it after we'd finished it.
I know.
And thought we'd come up motorbikes versus aeroplanes, for God's sake. And one of them had a friggin' supercharger. Yeah. One of them was electric.
I know.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what went wrong. I really don't.
I don't know. But we have been talking about a few other bits and bobs to do, and I think enough time has gone by now that we'll do something. We were thinking of doing something, and then obviously all this has now happened. So watch this space, folks. Watch this space. Right, where are we? Chris Cunningham. Chris Cunningham, do you think the police would bother chasing us on bikes, or is it just best to take number plate off, asking for a friend? Do you know, I've had a lot of people ask this with the current situation, and us supposedly being on a lockdown. People saying how they're going to enforce it. I've got no idea. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I think they're just hoping it's going to police itself, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think we just have to rely on people's better nature here, because if you do,
it hasn't gone so well so far.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't at all. But I think now we just have to. You've got to think of the bigger picture. And I totally understand people wanting to get away and de-stress. I totally understand that, absolutely. I mean, I'm lucky. I will be on the bike tomorrow because I've got to take my wife to work tomorrow. She's a police officer. She's got to go in, but I don't want her to go on the train. I just think that's insanity because the trains are packed. I don't want her going in by train, so she's going to jump on the back of the bike and I'm going to ride into London tomorrow, drop her at work, and then come home and then go back and pick her up at the end of the day. She's only got to go in 2 days this week, which is fine.
The trains are still packed?
Yeah. Trains, the tube. I think the train was not too bad this morning, but the tube was rammed.
Really?
It's insanity.
It's completely different here. Completely different. Yeah. My missus, I picked her up from work today because she had to go on the tube this morning because the car was broken, which is unfortunately my fault. So I fixed the car and went and picked her up. But she told me that the tubes were empty, completely empty. She said there were like 5 or 6 people in her carriage. Yeah. And we live, I know Hamburg is a lot smaller than London, but we live kind of what would probably be the border between Zone 1 and Zone 2. So we're quite central.
Right.
Yet the tubes were dead. She said they were really, really empty. And we went to the supermarket this evening on the way home from work, and shelves are full of everything except for toilet roll.
Yeah. What is it with toilet roll?
Yeah, I know. Although, check this out, actually. I took a picture. We went into a pharmacy on the way back. And this is the great thing. We can go into these places feeling relatively safe because everybody's been told to keep a 2 metre distance from everybody else. And they're all doing it. They're all doing it. 100%. Like there's a security guard enforcing a 2 meter distance between people on the queues for the checkouts.
Is that?
And it's working. It actually is happening. People are standing 2 meters apart, queuing for the checkout. Yeah. But yeah, check this out. I found the mother load.
Oh my God!
This is there tonight. I'll show you to the proper camera just so you can get it. There we go.
What I'll do is, if you take a picture of one and WhatsApp it to me, I will print one out and then I can use it. Down there for dancing.
Oh, it's absolute genius. Yeah.
I just realised
I tried to show it to you, but I couldn't.
I've been stood here scratching my beard and scratching my head. You're not supposed to do that, are you? I need those
I've been doing the same.
mittens.
I've been messing with the headphones.
Yeah. Oh, you can't win with that, can you?
Yeah.
Do you need
I've been trying to secretly eat my sweets as well. Check this out. I've been allowed to have a big packet of sweets here. Kiosk mix. That's the story of my childhood. That is. I was actually because my dad was in the army. We lived in Germany when I was a kid, and we used to go down to the local kiosk. Was just what looked like an ordinary house, and some woman. You'd knock. Imagine this now. Nowadays, you wouldn't be able to get away with this. You'd knock on the press on. You wouldn't knock on the doorbell. Jesus, bing bong. You'd press on the doorbell, and some woman would go, yeah. And you go, I want sweets, and then she'd buzz the door, let you in, and then you'd walk into this woman's lounge, and in her little side lounge thing that she had shelves full of sweets, and then you'd just pick the sweets that you want. She'd weigh them for you and give out of her house.
And all you had to do was milk that cow that was behind the black curtain.
Yeah, the milk tasted really funny though.
Do you need to restart your camera?
Yes, I do. Oh, good work, mate. That was 1 minute.
Good job. One of us is on the ball here, isn't it?
Tell you what, eyes on the prize, mate. Eyes on the prize.
I'm still right. GoPro's recording. So, yeah, sound's recording. I think we're good to go. Lovely.
Right, we're synced as well.
Beautiful. Happy days.
I'm even still in focus. Look at that. My soft mood lighting over here.
On my phone, I've checked the image on the computer before we did this, and I was okay. But on the phone, the exposure of my cranium with this light. If you have a look there.
You look alright to me, mate. You look alright.
So that's my set up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, we have finished with the Patreon. We are now on Instagram. So, right, Fowley74. Hi guys, here's a few questions. Would you recommend touring alone or with a tour company? What bike would you suggest if you were vertically challenged and ride 2-up? Best road areas for motorbike... There's a lot of questions here. Best road areas for motorbike riding, favourite trips away, scariest moments. Blimey, there's loads of questions. Let's go with... what would you recommend touring alone or with a tour company? Well, as someone that has a tour company, I'd thoroughly recommend that you ride with chickenstrips.co.uk.
Is that your tour company, is it, Bruce?
Chicken Strips, yes.
Yeah, what kind of tours do they do?
Fast ones to Spain, pretty much. Spain and occasionally around the UK, Scotland. We go to Scotland as often as we can. But yeah, Picos, Pyrenees and Scotland and Wales. That's pretty much it. Where do you, tour company or alone? Well, depends what type of person you are, doesn't it?
It really does.
Depends what type of rider you are. You know, if you like to ride in groups and you don't mind riding with people you don't know, tour company is a good option because they take the hassle out of everything. They know the roads.
Absolutely, and they take the question mark out of are the roads going to be good or not because they've already been there.
Exactly, they take you straight there. But you know, for me, I would say the old me would much prefer to go by myself, definitely. Yeah, but the new me,
I think myself as well.
Yeah, the new me is a bit of a, I don't know, I've become a bit of a hippie now, and I'm a bit of a social butterfly. So I like mixing with people. So I think because I've done the whole solitary ride thing. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy to be away by myself, but I quite like being away in a group as well. But I do get frustrated if the group isn't riding the way I want to ride.
Yeah, well, we've all seen it, mate. We've all seen it on camera.
Enough said of that. Yeah. We've got, what bike would you suggest if you were vertically challenged and ride 2 up? Blimey. Well, I'm 6'3" and you're a smidgen taller, so we're not really
but
the best
I would
people
say,
to
actually, from sort of personal experience, my stepdad is a bit shorter than me, and he rides a VFR 1200F.
All right.
That's been slightly lowered, and he was 2 up with my mum in Scotland last year quite a lot, and he seems to really like it, really loves it. He says it's fantastic, and she seems happy with the back seat.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's got enough space. It's got a 1200cc V4, so it's definitely got enough grunt, and it's smooth as butter.
Yeah.
So yeah, he seems really happy with it, and he's come from. Before that, he had a GTR 1400 Kawasaki.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was a behemoth of a bike.
It is. It's
absolute
a big old
monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he seems like he's really happy taking the step from the massive bike to the Honda. Although it's not a small bike, but it's his legs don't take so long to get to the ground. So it seems to work for that.
I tell you, I recently took out the 2020 Ducati Multistrada 1260 Grand Tour, I think, GT. I took that out, and I thought that was a lot lower than the GS, because I could easily get my feet on the ground. But when I was doing the spec thing, it's actually the seat height's higher than the GS. And what I think it was is the seat. Yeah, the seat's actually narrower. That must be what it is.
Okay, yeah.
So because the seat's narrower, I don't know, my feet just felt like they were lower on the ground, where they could get to the ground easier. I don't know. But I've
the question
got.
is, how does that what's the word? Forgetting English words now. How does that show itself on the longer rides is the question.
Do you know what's interesting? That very interesting. I actually, after about an hour and a bit, I started to get a bit of a pain in my left knee, and I thought, that sort of stuff's the beauty of being able to take bikes away for prolonged periods of time. That's the good part, isn't it, of doing the reviews? Because if you took that for a normal test ride, half hour. 45
you think
minutes.
it's awesome.
Yeah, you just get caught up in that wave of, oh my god, this engine's phenomenal, because it is. It's an utter hooligan. But yeah, after about an hour and a half, I was like, I'm noticing that on my knee, and I don't get that with the GS, so maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a big plus for the longer rides, the longer test rides.
Absolutely.
I think I'm actually leaning away from doing the shorter test rides that I've done in the past.
Yeah.
Partially because they're really stressful. In Germany, the dealerships are becoming less friendly about letting bikes out.
Are they? What, even to like motovloggers?
Yeah, well, motovlogger wise, they don't give me any time, because I'm an English speaking motovlogger in Germany, so
Right.
I've got no real benefit for them.
Yeah.
So I have to do the whole, I'm planning on buying a bike, can I borrow one? And they say to me, was half an hour enough? By the way, fill it up when you come back.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, my love. Beer
Hello.
from the wife.
Oh, what? My wife's in bed.
Oh, what?
I had to bring a spare one, so I nearly finished that. I actually, on that Ducati, on the Multistrada review, I actually have a bit of a rant, because the company that let me take this bike out is Laguna Performance down in Ashford, and they've got a sister company, Laguna, in Maidstone, which is 2 miles down the road from me here. And when I was in the market to buy a new bike, I contacted the Laguna Maidstone and said, can I take the Super Duke GT, the Super Duke Super Adventure, and the Ducati Multistrada? I want to take them out for a spanking to see, what I think of them. I'm in the market for a new bike. And they're like, yeah, no worries, you can have 15 minutes on each one. And I was like, I sort of laughed. Yeah, I sort of laughed and went, don't be daft. I'm not basing 18 to 20 grand's worth of bike on buying a bike on 15 minutes. And he said, hang on a minute then. Went and spoke with the manager, came back and said, tell you what, we'll give you half hour. And they knew I was going to do vids and stuff on it. And I was like, I'll be lucky to get out of the town in half an hour, So I said, no, you're all right. You've lost the sale. So that was that.
Yeah.
Gone. Yeah.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah, it's the same. I've had nothing but the exact same attitude from all of the dealerships here as well. Even though I've I'm not proud of it, even though I've pretended to be a potential customer. Mm-hmm. They do the whole, is half an hour enough? By the way, you need to put the fuel in. Mm-hmm. So I've got half an hour. Like it was this when I did the MT10 ride review. I had 40 minutes, and I had to fill it up on the way back as well. And in 40 minutes, I mean, I know an MT10 is thirsty, but you barely use the minimum. Yeah, I had to fill it up 4 friggin' times. But yeah, it was at the end of it. I was thinking, if I was planning to buy this bike, I would definitely go somewhere else now.
Well, this is the thing. It does nothing to endear you to the dealership, does it? So
no, not at all. But we digress. Bikes for short people.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that question. we're both 6 foot plus.
Yeah. So yeah, my call is definitely the VFR 1200F. Although as a caveat, it has been lowered by an inch and a half, I think.
Yeah.
But
I've got a good mate of mine.
It doesn't upset the handling.
I've got a mate of mine called Wee Si, because his name is Simon and he's particularly challenged, funnily enough. So he has this issue when he goes to test ride bikes, which he does fairly frequently. And he had an Explorer, 1200 Explorer, when we all were insane.
He came along to the meet that I cocked up, didn't he?
No, that's Little Ed.
No?
That's my mate Little Ed. He has an Explorer. Yeah, funnily enough, he's got an Explorer. But he's now just moved to a GS. He's just bought the new 1250 GS. But he's quite a stubborn guy, Ed. He's ex-Marine, so he will never accept the fact that a bike's too high for him. He will get on anything. You know what I mean?
Where's my ladder?
Yeah, he would get on one of those penny farthings and be, no, it's fine, I can do this. My feet touch the floor. But yeah, I think you're right. You can get lowering kits for just about every bike out there, can't you?
Yeah.
Right, Mark Walsh. Can Andy Man can? Can you can Andy Man can?
Well, I don't mean to boast, but I used to be able to. But obviously my heyday is behind me, and I've actually been off work sick for the last 3 weeks with a slip disc. So
oh my God, is that from Can?
It is. I over can-canned. Andy Mancam over can-canned.
What is your respective favourite song to sing while riding your motorcycle?
Oh, do you know what? Well,
this is going to be good.
I always seem to slip back into. I don't even know the rest of the words to the song. It's just on the road again.
Yeah, Willie Nelson. Yeah, that On the Road Again and Country Road. They're my two sort of staples, definitely. Yeah. Right, what have we got here? Bolton 737. Hi Bruce, do you ever take your partner on your biking adventures? If not, why? No, I've not actually. No, my missus has never come away with me on a trip. We were planning to do that this year, if we could. I've started doing some stuff with Canary Motorcycle Tours. I went away with them last year. So the plan was to go back this year and do some of Slovenia, Italy, Austria, all these sorts of places. And then towards the winter, go back to the Canaries, take Nikki, my wife, with me, and we'd do something there. So that might happen. The winter one might well happen. I'm not sure about Austria, Slovenia and Italy, because that was around about July time, so it'll all depend what goes on. But the reason she's not come away so far is just she wasn't particularly comfortable on the bike before. Really? Yeah, she's done her CBT now, and she's been out a few times. She likes a GS, definitely. She prefers the GS to the Gixxer, funnily enough. So yeah, she's getting into it. She is getting into it. What about yourself? Does your wife come out with you?
She doesn't actually. She's never ever been on the bike with me. Not at all. Not once. We've talked about it. We've discussed it over and over. And then right at the very beginning, when I first moved to Germany, we kind of half planned that maybe we'd get her some gear and get her on the bike and see if she likes it. But I mean, on the one side, it's an expensive investment to buy leathers, boots, gloves, helmet for the missus. Yeah. Well, sounds very sexist. For her to buy her own leathers, to then find out she doesn't like it. And she's been on the back of scooters with other people before, and she didn't like it. Kind of because she's a bit of a control freak. She likes to go fast. She likes to drive quick, but she likes it when she's in control. So when she's on the back, I don't think she would like it very much, and she's said the same. And she made a really good point as well, which was that when we're on a bike bombing through the countryside, she wants to look where we're going, and that's the one place she can't look because she's got to go like that.
All right, yeah.
Or look to the side. So she was like, yeah, no, I'm not interested, not up for it. And to be fair, it doesn't really bother me. It hasn't been an issue for us because it just means that now when I'm on the motorbike, it's my time. When we're together, it's our time.
Yeah.
And it just means that biking is Andy man time. It's you just don't have to worry about it. And let's be honest, the bike is always quicker with only one person on it.
Which is true, yeah. Unless you're me, in which case it's two people anyway. But
you make it look quick, mate.
Thank you. I'm just checking my car. Oh, sorry, it is still recording. Lovely. Right. Do I have to stop using my time machine because of lockdown? It's hard to explain things to my other wives in other worlds when I'm absent. That's reality VFR. Well, we'll leave that one to you then, pal. That one's going to be a difficult one to explain.
Right. To be honest, if you can get away with it, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Shh, my wife's next door. What's okay? Cheeky monkey valeting. I'm not a massive Star Wars fan, but have always wondered: does Chewbacca have a does Chewbacca have a human dick or a pink dog dick? Wow, what have you been smoking?
Oh. Well, I can't unsee it now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, discuss. Okay, Big Dave, 1966. What does the missus think about your internet fame? Does she like the idea or think you're a raving lunatic talking to a camera as a job? Well, my missus, I think she quite likes it now, to be honest. It's just... Yeah, I think in my old job, in the old Bill, obviously everybody we worked with knew I had the YouTube channel. They'd all been there when I was planning the round the world trip, when I was on my round the world trip, and afterwards. So, it was always a topic of conversation for all the lads and lassies at work. And when I was away, they're always asking Nicky, how's Bruce getting on? Where is he? What's he doing? So it's sort of more or less in the sort of 10 years we've been together now, biking has been me. It's just been synonymous with me because it was just a massive part of my life and hence her life. So I don't think she minds it as long as I make time for her. We have time together. We make sure we do stuff together. Sometimes it gets a bit crazy, absolutely.
Editing to 4 a.m. and
yeah. I think a lot of people don't appreciate. I'm not getting a violin out here, but I think a lot of people don't appreciate how much work goes into these videos. It's a lot of effort, but I love it. I really do enjoy it. Hence why I've left.
I was about to say, it's a labour of love, isn't it?
Absolutely,
it's a lot of effort, but at the end of it, you just look, I did it. Look what I did.
Absolutely, yeah. Do you find sometimes when you finish, you think, oh, that's crap, that's utter crap, and then
every time,
and then
every
you
time
upload
I hate everything,
and I'm almost amazed that people like it. And then you watch it back sometimes and think, oh my God, that's actually okay. I look at some stuff and think, did I do that? Is that, whose video is that?
It's just because you've watched it 50,000 times in 10-second chunks.
Yeah. And all the little wee blemishes that are in there, the sound when there's a clip in the audio maybe, and you couldn't figure out a way how to get rid of it, or the colours don't match, and it's all little things you couldn't quite do perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every time I make a video, I think, well, that should have been good. Yeah. I could have made that better.
Yeah.
And then, but I think it's the old adage, isn't it, that the last 20% takes 80% of the effort.
Yeah. For me, it's the first bit is the bit I hate. When you get all your footage onto the timeline, and then you have to go through it all and chop out the guff, and you get that first. Yeah. You go from say 6 hours down to 2 hours, and then you have to go through all that and keep whittling it away. That first bit is the bit I hate. Takes me days.
I hate it a bit later when you've done all that. I mean, that bit's pretty rubbish. Like just when you've got my Scotland trip, when I got back, I had 3 terabytes of footage. Jesus Christ, 3 terabytes of footage from four action cameras,
oh my God,
an Osmo Pocket, and a drone and some phone video. And it was just like, what am I going to... Why? How? Yeah. It's like a sculptor looking at a mountain and going, right, I want to make a vase out of that.
Yeah.
But then later on, I hate the bit where you get to the point where you think, like, right, I've got a video that's an hour long, which means I need to lose 50% of it to make a video that's acceptable.
Yeah.
So 50% of what I've already deemed as good has to go.
Absolutely, yeah. How do you do that? That's the thing. But you do, though, don't you? You do.
Yeah. I always wrestle with the... I've been accused of it in the past, of making too many cuts too fast.
Yeah, I get that.
So that I make my videos so choppy that it moves along quickly, but it's almost like people are watching it like it's some sort of psychological Vietnam MDMA torture test.
Yes, I've been guilty of that myself, many times.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. It's tough to find the balance, isn't it?
And the music, the comments I get about the music as well. It's like, oh, I love the music. And then the next comment is, oh, the video is great, but that music is dog shit.
Yeah, what was that push?
With me, it's like the music probably takes up a third of my time when I'm editing.
Absolutely.
I can sit and spend a whole day just going through track after track after track after track. Nah. Yeah, that one's impossible. Yeah. And then the next day when you come back, you listen to it again and go, that's crap. I've got to do it again. Find another one.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? When you do that as well. When you come back the next day and think, what was I thinking? Was I drunk yesterday or what?
Well, so we never asked. What's your missus think about the whole YouTube thing?
That's been a multifaceted, organic being,
right?
Because at the beginning it was very obvious that she thought, what is he doing with this toss? This is going nowhere. What the bloody hell?
Yeah.
And then the more it's grown and the bigger it's got, I mean, it's not like I'm a superstar yet, but at the same time I'm pretty proud of what I've achieved over the years with just making a few shitty videos.
You
of
get
me
recognised, don't you?
Around.
You know what I mean? You do get recognised. So
yeah, well, it's happened to me once so far, but then I live in a different country to where the main audience is, so I'm living the LA life. But now the longer it's gone on, now she's really supportive. She's totally on board. She's awesome. Even coming back to what we talked about earlier on, the subject of her getting on the bike has resurfaced again because she thought maybe that would be interesting for people to see.
Yeah.
You know, the person behind the curtains, the other part of the team joining in with the videos, and it's something we've kind of almost put back on the table. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, she's awesome. She's brilliant. I mean, at the beginning she was resistant, but I mean, how many guys don't have a wife or a girlfriend who's resistant to their hobbies? But thankfully, because this is going quite well, she's on board now.
Cool. Good.
But who knows what could happen?
Well,
behind every great motovlogger is an unbelieving wife.
It looks like there's another one actually connected with this. Big Dave M. Like to know if Andy's missus... What? I'd like to know if Andy... Oh, sorry, it's not your missus. I'd like to know if Andy misses the days of the phaser and his longer trips alone touring. Thoroughly enjoy watching his vids of those times, watching him go slightly mad talking to a camera in the pouring rain. You got a fan there. Big Dave M.
Yeah.
Cheers, Dave.
Well, if someone enjoys some idiot talking madness into a rainy camera, then you're definitely right with me.
There's another one for you here. Spenny 2K. Yeah. Have you seen my 10mm socket anywhere?
Oh, back to the other one though. I wanted to say that it's a yes and a no to his question. I miss Polly, the FZ 600, FZ S600. It was an awesome bike, but I have to say the FZ1 is the obvious natural progression from that bike, and I am 100% happy with it, and it fits perfectly. And because of that, I wouldn't trade my FZ1 for an FZ S600 ever.
No,
ever, no chance. It's just there's no competition. It's that bike's daddy. It really is.
Nice.
But as for going away on my own, I've actually had a bit of a hankering lately for a solo tour. I think, like I said earlier on, the trip to the Hearts might be the first time I've done a bit of a solo tour on my own. But I have had a bit of a want I imagine Iceland would have been a solo trip, just a bit of a, just a journey of self-discovery. And
you have to take your guitar with you.
Well, yeah, sing myself to sleep every night instead of crying for once.
Well, I had a trip. Hopefully, it might go ahead still. I don't know, but I was going to be doing like a 10-day mega trip all around Europe, where I was just going to be using social media to say, right, my first stop off is going to be somewhere in France, let's say.
Yeah. Where shall I go next?
Who's about? Who wants to meet up? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What am I going to see? Off, and I would just leave the whole thing to social media, to everyone on social media, and that was
a bit Dave Gorman style.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly, and just go from there. It might happen. I'm hoping it'll happen.
Mate, fingers crossed for you. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll happen this year. If not, then I'll put it off and we'll do it next year. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I like that, where you get a mix of being by yourself, but then also meeting up with other people as well. So yeah, best of both worlds for me.
Bit of a Forrest Gump on bikes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just keep riding. All right, Bobset 1, best helmets in the market, features you look for in a good helmet, etc. That depends, doesn't it? Depends what you need it for. What's your
absolutely, yeah. What kind of bike you've got?
Yeah.
Have you got a screen? No screen? Do you want to record audio or not?
I like a peaked lid now. I just like the look of a peaked lid. So for me, the shoey, that one there.
Yeah.
I love that lid.
So are you missing the peak on your Ruroc?
Yeah.
Lately,
the Ruroc's good. I like the look of the Ruroc. It's a fresh, sort of funky design.
It looks awesome. It looks great.
It does look good, but it's loud. It is loud. You need your earplugs, and there's a couple of videos that will be coming out where it has interfered with the audio because.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it's my own fault. One of them, I forgot to pull the chin vent down, and the chin vent is so big. It ended up sounding like there was a hurricane coming through my lid.
Bloody hell.
And then the other issue is because of the physical makeup of the structure on the outside of the lid. It's got all those vents and everything around it. Where I've put the audio adapter for the GoPro, for some reason,
you get a bit of turbulence.
Yeah, the turbulence against the 3.5mm jack going into the audio adapter. I don't know why, but the turbulence is making that come out slightly. So
is that why you've got the blue tack on it now?
No, that blue tack is to weatherproof the USB-C cable going into the GoPro. Hang on. Right. That's it. Yeah. So I put the blue tack around that, and then that just goes into the side of the GoPro there, like that. But what I
thought I saw another. Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
So where this adapter is, if you see where the adapter is, like that.
Yeah.
Hang on, if I stand back here, where that adapter is, for some reason, because it's slightly on the side there, it was forcing this jack out. And what happens is that jack only needs to come out 0.5 millimeter, and then it cuts. You start getting loads of cracks and crackles, and
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this because I've actually just joined Team GoPro.
Have you?
And
Well, what I've done to combat it is I've got Sugru, and I literally.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's permanent now.
It is now. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's a drawback. But touch wood, I've not had any issue with the audio since.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea though. It's the only thing you're ever going to use it for.
Well, yeah, and it's you know what it's like in this game when you occasionally you get offered opportunities to do some pretty cool stuff, don't you? And you only get one take. You only get one chance to capture it, and there's nothing worse than getting home and checking the footage and the audio's gone or the audio's crap. Yeah. So I've already lost a lot of audio in a meetup I did with TMF and Richie Vida in February. We went to Toro, and I lost a load of audio. Rich and I were doing something like this, but on the bikes. Can't use it in the end because the audio was so crap.
Oh, it's so depressing, isn't it? You just always want to have a set of headphones so you can check the audio, like a proper good videographer.
I know. like someone that knows what they're doing. So well, that's the decision. The decision I made was, well, this is now my livelihood, so I can't afford for that to happen. So I just screwed it in place, and that was that. Best helmets in the market, features you look for in a good helmet. For me, features are, I like the peak purely for cosmetics. No other reason for me. Just I like the cosmetic look of a peak. I like black helmets just because I like black helmets. And
Any colour as long as it's black.
Yeah, pretty much. That's about it, really. I seem to have a fairly general head, so it fits most.
General head.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
It fits most lids out there. Some people are like, oh, I can't wear this type, I can't wear that type. They seem to fit me, so I'm all right. But
it's a proper Mark 1 melon.
Yeah. I've just been given the new LS2 Pioneer Evo, actually, but I've not worn that yet. That's a peak adventure style lid. The plan was to get out and try that, and then Corona said hello, so that was the end of that.
Awesome. Yeah. I think what I look for in a helmet always, the first thing I would always look for is the weight of it, lightness.
Yeah.
I've really noticed that since I've now got a Nishwa Carbon Enduro helmet, which weighs 1,100 grams, and it's practically nothing.
Yeah.
It feels like it's not there. It's incredible, and because I did that, and it wasn't a hugely expensive helmet. It cost me €300.
Okay.
From Lois again, my favourite shop and yours, and I absolutely love it. And it means that every time I've ever tried a different helmet on, like when I did the Lois event in Switzerland, they gave me the helmet down from that, which is the same helmet but in fiberglass.
Right.
And by the end of the trip, I was thinking, Jesus Christ, my neck! Oh, I can't take the weight of this thing. Bloody hell! And it was like 200 grams heavier. But
you need to get down the gym.
I really do. But yeah, that's the thing I look for the most, because obviously we're chucking our heads around, and obviously, like me and you, Bruce, you know the pain. Oh, camera. It's all right. I'm good. Right.
We'll rewind a bit.
Well, me and you, Bruce, you know the pain.
Oh, he's professional.
We buy a helmet as light as we possibly can. Well, I do at least, because I don't need it just to be black with a peak. And then we strap loads of shit to it. We stick an intercom on the side, we stick a camera on the front, we put a battery pack on the back. I've actually been shying away from the battery pack lately, again, because of the weight, but still. We put all of this stuff on our helmet, which means we bought this thing, made it twice as heavy as it was to start with, and then we'd throw it around in the wind while we're doing 60 miles an hour. So yeah, lightness for me is a big thing. And obviously, I think the absolute biggest thing for any helmet is you need to stick it on your head and see how it feels.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you can look at the specs of any helmet and you can see that it's got ventilation by Dyson and all polarized pin lock super lens. But then when you stick it on your head, it feels like you're wearing a bucket.
Yeah.
And that's no good. Yeah. It's no good. I mean, I've tried on dream helmets before and found them the most uncomfortable thing in the world. And then my wallet's gone. That was close.
I'll tell you something I just thought of there was the old crash protection. And I've got to admit, I think it's quite naive really of me, but I've just always assumed that any helmet I buy these days is gonna have good crash protection, but obviously some are better than others. So
we put faith in the regulations, don't we? I suppose.
Yeah.
But I suppose, have you heard of the Sharps database? Yeah. When I was in the UK, I always used to look at the Sharps database when I bought a helmet. Whereas,
did you?
Yeah, always. So the helmet I had before. The helmet I had before the helmet I had before the one I've got now. The brother of my sister's wife's cousin's uncle. It was a AGV S4V or so, something like that. And it had a Sharps 5-star rating and the price was good. Yeah. I tried it on in the shop and it felt good. And then that's the next thing you need to try out is when I put it on my head, That was the loudest thing I've ever known on a motorbike. It was unbelievable. Yeah. It was like a tornado in my face, but the tornado was playing a penny whistle at the same time. It was just, the noise was ridiculous.
Not fun.
This is the good thing actually about Lois, the shop in in Hamburg, well, in Germany generally. They have a motorbike in the shop.
This is not sponsored by Lois. Just
not sponsored at all. I think the shop is fantastic. It's like it's a motorcyclist playground. The shop, I could walk around it for days. They've got so much stuff and it's huge and sadly at the moment shut. But they've got a motorbike. I'm sure they've got this probably in all of the shops. They've got a motorbike sat in front of a big fan. So you can sit on the bike, press the button, and the fan blows wind in your face, and you can see how the helmet hair sounds.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I've never seen that before.
They just they know what bikers want, and they seem to actually
German.
Yeah. Alles klar.
Right, we better crack on here. We're on to Facebook now. Craig Henty, how many of us span our own bikes? Simple service things, or are we mainly just riders? Well, I've got to admit, for me, I just ride. I don't do any of my own maintenance on my bikes. I generally keep a bike for between 1 and 3 years, so they're generally always within their warranties. So I just get the dealers to do, and I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah. What about you? You do a lot of fettling,
I'm
don't
a
you?
big time spannerer. Yeah, I do all of the servicing, all of the everything. Although my bike is now due valve clearance check, and I'm 50-50 on whether to attempt it myself or give a professional the job. Yeah. Because up to now, I've done everything. I've done everything that needs to be done, and obviously there's 100 videos that you can watch of me sometimes destroying stuff on my bike and then repairing it begrudgingly at a great cost. But yeah, valve clearance, I don't know. I've never been that deep into an engine. So,
say no more there. Adventure bikes and short legs. We've already done that one. Richard Harwood, is it a prerequisite to have a manly beard to ride a motorcycle? Gender permitted?
Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely, yep. And also, what are you going to do to get your jollies off now biking's on hold? Do you know what? I've laughed about this because people are like, oh God, how are you going to cope being stuck inside? And I'm like, you do know I'm like a video editor for a living now.
Yeah, it's bloody brilliant, isn't it?
It's pretty much what we do, isn't it?
8 videos in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's like a motovlogger's life is pretty much 5% being on the bike and 95% stuck in a dark room in front of a computer.
Although that's going to come to an end quick, isn't it, for us? That's going to...
Why's that?
Well, I mean, you've got probably a lot more footage than I have, but I've just got to the end of my last tour, so I've got maybe 2 videos in the can.
Right.
After that, I don't know where I'm going to go. I mean, a couple of garage things. If I sneak between the policemen down the street during curfew, it's going to be like Checkpoint Charlie getting across to the garage.
You're gonna have to become like a tech reviewer. Start reviewing your computer and what's that beer like, and your headphones and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, true. Well, I'm actually using the Jabra 65C Elite currently, Bluetooth headphones connected to the MacBook Pro Touch Bar. This beer is a Stutterbecker Atlantic Ale, 5.1%, very hoppy, wonderful in the aftertaste.
I'm very fortunate because I've got a lot of content that I've just never had time to edit. You know, the problem with me is I've got loads of Pico strips. I've got Pico strips from 2018 still to edit.
Oh, wow.
So I don't want to overload on the Picos because, you know.
These, you must have a couple of quite a bit of content for, like you've already said, for the Ruhrrock. You've got some stuff coming up.
Yeah, I've got stuff. Yeah, I did an off-road thing, believe it or not. I ended up down in Toro, down in Spain, and when things were pretty bad in the police, you know, I had that complaint investigation going on. Lyndon very kindly just said, look, come down for a couple of days, just chill out. Well, I've nothing planned, just come down. So I thought, great. Awesome. A couple of days, let loose on a GS, and I can go and spank it around the Spanish roads. Beautiful. Well, the crafty bugger's always been trying to get me off-road. Always been trying to get me off-road. So I turned up and basically found myself on a Husky 350 careering down some riverbeds. I look back and it was fun, but at the time, I hated it. I hated it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Because I didn't know what I
would
was
love to do that. I would absolutely love the shit out of it. I mean, I'm terrified of it. I've broken every bone in my body so far, but that would be bloody brilliant. I look forward to the videos.
Well, I did it on the Huskies, and I didn't really enjoy it because I just felt, I don't know, I couldn't.
It's comfort zone, isn't it?
Yeah, standing up on it, I just felt like I was either going to fall over the front or I was hanging off and I was going to bring the front up. But then the next day, I went away with Adrian, another one of the Spanish guides down there, and we went away on the new GS 1250s. But again, Lyndon had said to him, get him off-road. So I'm thinking I'm going to be away on the roads on this thing. And we basically turned right, went off this road, and then ended up going up a dirt track. And we were way up in the mountains. But I actually really enjoyed off-roading on the GS because it was a bigger bike and I just felt more stable on it. So there's a couple of vids from that coming. The thing with TMF and Richie Vida, that's coming from Toro. God, I took a Harley out.
Bloody hell! So, you've changed,
mate. Honestly, I'm shocked myself at my reaction to this Harley. But you'll see in the video. Which one was it? The massive one, the Street Glide.
Oh bloody hell!
Street Glide Special.
I've only ever ridden the 883, the Roadster.
See, I've never ever ridden one, and the chap Michael, he's the sales manager down at Guildford Harley.
You found yourself at home.
Do you know what I did? I absolutely did. I'm sort of still in a bit of a daze about it, thinking that didn't happen. But I really enjoyed it. But anyway, so there's a couple of vids from that coming. There's the Ducati Multistrada 1260 vid that's coming. Gee whiz, I've got shed loads. I've got the infamous Spain and Portugal trip from 2 years ago to do, where my mate Amish, you ever see the one with the roundabout where the guy went straight over the roundabout?
Yes I have, yeah.
Well, the next year he came away with us again.
How he survived.
Yeah, well he didn't. It caught
and how
up
he
with
kept
him.
It up on the grass, that's...
Yeah, phenomenal, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, I can never keep it up in the grass.
He came away with us the following year, which was 2018, I think, and sadly he wasn't as lucky. He had a massive smash. He's still not right now. He's still crook now. Was that last year or the year before? Might have been last year actually. But anyway, I've not edited that yet, so that's still to come.
Well, mate, you're a bit better placed than I am. Then I'm probably like many of the businesses across the world right now. I'm like like the duck above the water. Everything looks great, but underneath I'm like, shit. What am I going to do next? Yeah. Oh bloody hell!
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, if this goes on, they're talking about 3 weeks, but I kind of think 2 or 3 months realistically. But who knows?
Easy, yeah. My job actually has been put on hold till October.
God,
because I've been working at a theatre, the Harry Potter show in Hamburg.
All right.
And the premiere was supposed to be last weekend, and they've postponed it till October.
Oh, God.
So,
you going to be all right?
Yeah, I reckon we've been put on this German thing that's kind of halfway between unemployment and on the dole.
Okay.
Where we get about half money for the time. So, yes.
What, even being self-employed?
No, I was luckily for the first time in my life I've timed something right, and I was actually employed directly.
Right.
Well, like, that's lucky, the German equivalent of PAYE.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, over here...
no more beer, love.
Over here, they've done that. They've done that for employed people, PAYE people, up to, I think you get up to 80%. There's a maximum amount, which I think is about $2,500 or $2,900 a month. So you'll get up to that, or 80% of your wage is what you'll get. But for self-employed, they still haven't.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, so
it really is tough.
Crap, what am I going to do? But anyway, that's enough of that depressing stuff. Okay, what have we got here? David Badham. My missus had a... Are you okay for time, mate? Because we've been chatting for quite a while.
Mate, I've got as long as you want. As long as you
Well, that's 9:20 now. Yeah, we'll be all right. David Badham, my missus had a proper go at me on Saturday because I went for a motorbike ride. My mate had to collect his beast, and I went with him. What's the best way to balance riding my motorcycle with the rest of my life to avoid getting a massive bollocking again? Well, sheesh.
Lie.
Yeah, lie. Just lie. It's always life or death. Always.
I said lie down, love. Lie down.
Your mate has had a massive barney with his missus or something like that, and you've got to go and do the proper friend thing to console him. You just happen to have to take your bike kit with you on the bike when you go. I don't know. I'm lucky. My missus is good as gold. She tells me to go out on the bike, so yeah.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah,
She's really, really supportive.
Get a supportive missus.
Although what really does help, what I find is really, really incredible, I don't know whether this is always luck or from both of our directions a little bit of coercing, but whenever I've gone away on a bike trip, the missus has always had a girls' holiday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, good idea. Yeah.
And it always works. So what you need to do is you need to nurture and propagate these relationships of your missus with other girls, other females, so that she can spread her wings and go on holiday with them. And then when she goes on holiday for a week with the girls to Fallaraki, then you've got a week to go wherever you want on the bike.
And with any luck, she'll meet somebody and then you won't have to worry about it ever again.
Then you can find a supportive wife.
Yeah, exactly, a biker chick. Or you do what I do and you just become such a pain in the arse when you're actually at home that your missus turns round to you and goes, would you go for a ride? Would you just disappear somewhere? That's a plan.
I think that's the golden bullet.
Yeah. What we got here? So bear with me 2 seconds. Out of every bike you have either owned or test ridden, which one surprised you the most and why? And that is from Stuart Anderson. Go on then.
The Ducati 1100 Scrambler. Definitely.
Not ridden, though.
I thought. When the bike came out, I was like, meh, not really my style. Doesn't look like it's all that exciting. The numbers look rubbish. The numbers look, for an 1100cc bike, the numbers look proper pants.
Right.
Like it's underpowered. It's under-torqued. It's just really rubbish looking. And then when I was on the Lois event, I know, Lois again. I should put a banner up or something.
Lois fanboy.
Yeah. I should have worn the T-shirt, shouldn't I? Jesus.
I've got the
I'm never going to get my premium now. When I was on that event, I went from riding a BMW R9T, which I've always loved, absolutely loved, and then when I rode it, didn't like it very much.
I watched that.
I found it very agricultural.
Yeah.
And then went straight from that to a Ducati Scrambler, which was a bit of a... Everybody in the group was changing bikes, so I was like, oh, God, do I have to? All right, I'll have that one then. And I had such a hoot, such an incredible hoot. It was amazing. It sounded awesome with a stock can. It was just really blarty and blah. And it felt like I was riding the thing within an inch of its... I probably wasn't even touching the surface, but it felt like I was riding it within an inch of its life. And I was hammering into the bends and I was hanging off around the hairpins, screaming it up the box round the corners. Oh, it was so much fun. Yeah. And it felt light and it felt flicky and it felt like I could just chuck it wherever I wanted. And it was just a really enjoyable ride. And I came away thinking, why did I not like this bike? And it felt plenty powerful enough, and it felt plenty fast enough, and it felt torquey, and it just felt good. Really, really fun. I mean, I don't think it could be an everyday bike for me, but I was amazed by how much balls out fun I had on the thing. It was incredible.
I'm gonna have to have a shot at that. Do you know what was similar with me, as you said, was just a surprise and how much fun I had on it. Electric bikes. Yeah,
true. Yeah.
The Zero SRF Is that the first one?
That was the latest one.
Oh, right. Well, that
was
that
the
broke.
DS and the DSF.
It was the DS,
DFSR.
DSR? DRS?
SDRC?
Back in 2018, that one was the first one I'd ever ridden, the Zero one. And I couldn't get over how much fun that was. And then I took out the Energicas, and Jesus, I just had the time of my life. I genuinely had a really good time on the bike. I think that was probably
I can only
the most
confirm.
fun.
I did the same. I did the SRF last year, and it was astounding.
Yeah,
so much fun to ride.
Yeah, it is, and it's what you're not expecting it to be as good as that or have as much fun. Yeah. So yeah, that was probably it for me. But there's other bikes that I've got to say, I took out the BMW S1000 XR, and I was really sort of let down by it, and I just had no connection with that bike at all. And I was expecting it to be the bike I wanted, because I'm sort of a sports bike man who now is too fat and old, so I'm now on the adventure bikes, and I thought this is the perfect,
should be theoretically the perfect mix, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and it just left me cold. Didn't like it. However, I took out the S1000RR and fell in love. I mean, I literally was like a giggling schoolgirl when I gave the keys back. I phoned Nikki. I phoned my wife on the way back to the dealership on my Cardo Pack Talk. I phoned her and she was like, yeah, and she was like, how are you getting on? And I was just like, it's really good. And she was like, all right, yeah, and I was like, no, it's really good. And she was like, you can't do this.
I might have bought it.
Yeah, she was just like, you can't do it. You can't afford it. So it's the first time ever she said no about anything to do with bikes. And she was like, no, you cannot do that. I can't stop you, but just no, you can't.
But just think of the extra views, though.
What's that?
If you got yourself that bike, this is what I always told my wife. If I got myself this bike, imagine how many more views I'd get.
That bike cost me my job. That bike was why I got the complaint.
You're joking.
No. It was the review of the S1000RR available to view. That bike was the one I got the complaint about, and ultimately led to the end of my police career.
I watched that video. I didn't think it was any worse than usual.
No, I didn't. But
less so, probably.
Well, somebody took exception to it, but well, never mind. So yeah, that bike changed my life.
Jesus, you have to buy it then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's written in the stars.
Well, I think if anything, BMW owe you one.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything out of BMW, are you?
No.
What have we got here? Sorry, mate, I'm trying to read through these questions. But what's the most physically exciting bike that each of you has ridden, and why? Physically exciting. S1000RR for me. The thing is just, it is galactically fast, and I just loved it. I just loved everything about that bike. You?
God, it's a toughie. I think possibly the MT10 actually so far.
Oh, I've not ridden one of them.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah?
It was a lot of fun. It was a bit of a rough-edged diamond because it had some foibles. The fueling was a bit. You even mentioned it today, actually, about the chap that was on your Pico's trip.
Yeah.
About the fueling being a bit jerky. I found the same. He's definitely confirmed that it was a bit jerky. But at the same time, I did my first ever power wheelie on one of them, accidentally.
Shit yourself.
And yeah, a little bit. It's definitely it's brown and it smells fun. But yeah, it was as I say, it was a bit rough around the edges, but for just balls out fun, the thing was ludicrous. It was the CP4 engine with the Big Bang configuration sounds amazing. It's like it's an inline 4, but it sounds like a twin.
Right.
And yeah, it was comfy. Some of the plastics were a bit shit, to be honest. I think, in my opinion, they were a bit tacky looking, but as a concept, at the core of it, the bike was a lot of fun to ride. A hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah. My mate that's got one, he was saying to me that he doesn't ride in like the top balls out mode. He rides in, say if the top one's A mode or 1 mode, he rides it in B mode. So you can sit in that smooths out the fueling. So yeah. I mean, you've seen the videos.
I found the A or 1 or Alpha, whatever it was, the most aggressive one. I found it too much. It was too much, definitely. And I don't really understand actually how and why the bike manufacturers keep doing this whole rider modes thing when they should be able to fit the curve in between 0 and 100%, shouldn't they?
Yeah,
it shouldn't be that difficult.
I've never got the whole rider mode thing. I've never understood it. People ask, and
it's an excuse, isn't it? It's an excuse to say, right, we're doing from 40% to 100% so that you can get full performance, and then for the lesser mode we're going from 0% to 80 so that it's softer.
Yeah.
Why can't we have everything in between but just make the curve nice?
I don't know.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, that's why I like my good old 2006 Yamaha. It's got nothing to do with bank balance.
Right, we've got one here. Jeff Davies. Have you ever tried the Contour 3 sports camera? Why can't GoPro make a streamlined sports camera instead of an aerodynamic brick? I've never tried Contour. Have you?
My stepdad Ian has a Contour, but I think it was one of the earlier ones.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's just... Yeah, GoPro, they've got their format, haven't they? They've got their format, it works for them, they're making sales. Why you never change a working system?
Yeah. It's like Drift. Drift had the perfect camera with the Ghost S.
Yeah, that's a different story. They've just gone... They've bananaed it well away from the goalposts, haven't they?
That's just... I mean, and they just hang on to this, our battery lasts 8 hours. I don't care. Everything about the camera's crap. The quality, the picture quality's garbage. The audio's garbage. It's not reliable. It's just...
Yeah, well, I think the reliability was the biggest problem I had because my second ever camera was a Drift 1080.
Yeah.
And it just kept freezing.
Did it?
It just kept on freezing. And every time I mentioned it to customer services, it was like, yeah, we know about the problem. We're not doing anything about it.
Yeah. See, I had the Ghost S. I had a couple of Ghost S's, and I never had any issues with the Ghost S. It was brilliant, and it was only
it sounds like they might have sorted it out for those. I had the Ghost. They replaced my 1080 with a Ghost,
right?
And after 3 weeks with the thing, I got rid of it.
Yeah,
it was a nightmare.
Yeah,
and it just seems that they had a problem. So instead of fixing it on the current product, they just brought out a new one.
Yeah,
and then but sadly GoPro are guilty of the same thing.
Yeah, they are. But I tell you, I was having issues with the GoPro whereby sometimes the picture was freezing. So when I was recording video, the picture would freeze, but the audio would carry on. And it would happen time and time and time again. Or if I have the one-touch record on my camera, so you literally just, the camera's off, you're riding along, you think, right, I'll record now. Hit the record button and it switches on and records. That's it. There's a bit of a delay, like 3 or 4 second delay. And then I'll record for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then switch her off again. And I would just do that. But if you switch off and then try and switch on again in quick succession, sometimes the camera would just poop itself and you'd have to stop, take the battery out, put the battery back in. It was really starting to annoy me. And then I sort of thought to myself, I wonder if this has got something to do with the SD cards. Because I'd heard there were a lot of fake SD cards on Amazon and eBay. And that's where I'd been buying my SD cards. So I went straight to the SanDisk website and I bought the top spec, fastest micro SD card they did. I've popped it in a GoPro and I've not had a single issue ever since.
Yeah, I think that's the secret, isn't it?
Yeah,
I really do.
And the same with
I use since I've joined Team GoPro, I've had I think what it is now. I think it's a Samsung. In any case, it's a U3.
Yeah.
The spec of it. So it's
this thing's got it's got write speeds of like 110 or 120. It's mega fast.
Well, the thing that in the past has really depressed me is sometimes the spec isn't really very useful. Like I've got a bunch of Toshiba cards. I can't get it because my microphone's in the way. I've got a bunch of Toshiba cards which are supposed to be super fast.
Yeah.
Whereas a SanDisk card of the same spec came out as being 10 times faster write speed.
Right.
even though it's supposed to be the same. Yeah, the one I've got is a Samsung Evo Plus U3.
Okay.
There we go. Try and get the camera to focus on that.
Not seeing anything. Oh, yeah, you got it. Oh, yeah, I've had them. Yep.
Yeah, it seems really good. I'll try and show it to the proper video so you can...
Thank you. Mate, I've just got to pop. I've got to go and break the seal. Give me 2 ticks.
All right, mate.
Speak to the camera and I'll be back.
So while Bruce is off to the toilet, I'm relatively certain he's just hoping that I don't do something awful like touch my penis or... In fact, I might use this opportunity to do the very same.
Hiya. Sorry, dude, you got to wash your hands for about 3 hours, haven't you?
This is true.
What's happened to your picture? Where have you gone?
Yeah, I was jealous. I completely forgot that I've got Bluetooth headphones on, so I'm in the toilet with me.
Have you seen that video doing the rounds of the American town mayor, where he does exactly that? He's on this massive conference call, and then he they're doing a massive conference somewhere, like a town conference, and he gets up and goes to the toilet, but he's still got his mic on. You not seen it?
I haven't seen that, no.
It's brilliant. He's literally like burping and farting, and it's the old, you can hear the horse having a pee into the water. Just the pee stream goes on forever, and it's really loud.
Yeah.
Right, what else we got here? We're gonna have to try and wrap this up soon. That's nearly 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't envy you the editing, mate.
These will be all right though. I'll keep this long form really, so it'll just be.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't matter, does it? People expect a long one.
Yeah, exactly. It's just long form
podcast
conversation.
Has got to be like
isn't
an
it?
hour and a half.
Yeah, and then the video is literally just this, but with video.
Yeah.
Matt Rowe, does Andy have an album, and is it available on Spotify?
Oh my good God. Yes and no. I do have an album. It is available. I can give Bruce a link to where you can get a CD.
Down below.
Because I don't know, arrogantly perhaps produced 1,000 copies of my CD, and I've still got about 500 in the cellar.
Right.
It was available on Spotify, but I had to take it down for various administrational reasons, but hopefully it'll be back again soon. But yeah, in the meantime, CD is available, and I'll send Bruce the link.
Excellent. You did Pop
It's called
Idol
Open
or
the
something,
Door.
didn't you?
Sorry?
You did Pop Idol or something, didn't you? Or?
I was on... there is a link actually to this video as well on YouTube. I was on The Voice of Germany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and sadly I didn't get through. But it's all a fix. I'm legally obliged not to talk about why, but...
all received.
Yeah, but yeah, sadly it was an experience, but it was a waste of time I won't repeat.
Okay, right. All received. What else we got here? Stevie Copeland, more vids from us both, please. Well, I think we've already covered that, haven't we? So there will be
absolutely.
more vids coming, and what the topics will be, we're not entirely sure at the moment.
No, and hopefully at some point there might be some overlap.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, mate. Yeah. Want to come over. Chris Owens, non-biking question. What's happening with self-employed? Oh, yeah, we've already covered that, haven't we? You know, the sort of government payments for self-employed workers, and we've already covered all that. Best road ever, we've covered that. With just a simple change of insurance policy, can we all ride for Deliveroo? I suppose you could, couldn't you? You just need business insurance, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I did think about doing that when I first moved to Germany, and I phoned up my insurance company and said, what do I need to do? And they went, get a different company.
Did they? All right, simple as that.
So if we don't do that, sod off.
All right. I think in the UK, most of them do. You just say, is it for business purposes? And that's it. So you just say, yeah, can I just add business purposes to my insurance? And that's it. Yeah. What else we got here? With now we can't ride our bikes for God knows how long. What should we do to remain sane?
Watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Have you noticed any difference on your analytics?
Yeah, they've got worse.
Do you know, mine have. They definitely have.
What is that? I
was on a massive spike, a huge spike, and I thought, happy days, cracked it, here we go. And literally in the last week, they've just gone whoop. Now I've started doing 2 videos a week. They've got worse.
I don't understand it. Maybe people have got too much more important stuff to do. I don't know. But yeah, look at this. I've got... Can you see that?
Yeah.
This was like before Corona. This is post-Corona.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I imagine that the first video, when everybody's working from home, would just go, oh my God, I've got nothing to do. I'm going to watch Andy's video.
You sit there like that, wouldn't you, off your ad revenue? Yeah, happy days. No, it's just not. It's gone the total opposite.
No, I've got YouTube on the phone. They say you're not getting no money.
Yeah. Yeah, yours is quite a nice downward trend. Mine looks like... Basically, it looks like a ski jump.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, because it went so big when I did my I'm back vid. You know, like I've left the old bill, I'm back. It just went. Through.
I had a bit of for that. I really did. The blood was pumping.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I had a little bit of dust in the eyes and a lump in my throat when I shut my locker. It was like, oh crap, that's it done then. Oh well. C'est la vie.
Yeah, but that video was really blurry for some reason. What was that? Why was it so blurry? That was the tears. That was the tears.
Do you know that I filmed more or less all of that on my phone, and you know, certainly with the iPhones, if the lighting's not great, then, and certainly with the front camera, you tend to see quite a lot of haze. I don't know why, but yeah, it's not great.
I couldn't see that because everything was out of focus.
No, we can't really do. Oh yeah, we haven't answered that question. What are we going to do then? Well, yeah, YouTube and something that's...
And projects.
Yeah, something that struck me, and I was chatting with my wife about this, is that you can really see people sort of bonding together a lot more, can't you? It's like the community spirit.
Yeah.
Apart from those arseholes that are not listening to anybody, but those who are and
their thrones of toilet paper.
Yeah, those who are self-isolated, like people seem to be, I don't know, at the moment getting on better and are more appreciative of each other, and like we're out checking on our neighbours to make the neighbours okay, and do they need anything if you go into the shops, and there's just a really nice community spirit. How long that'll last, I don't know, but 2 weeks into quarantine, you're ready to kill each other. I don't know. But
well, I hope it'll last a bit longer, because it's age old, isn't it? You don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you can't spend time with people, you suddenly find yourself thinking, well, I just desperately want to have some interaction.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
as I don't know whether, I think you said it on the Patreon page, something about how for me and you and others like us, there's no real difference, because we spend ages in the cave in the dark on the computer just what do you mean you're home from work? I haven't bloody finished yet.
I've not even washed.
Oh, mate, I've had so many times when my wife's come home. What did you have for lunch? Lunch?
Yeah.
Jesus, I didn't even know it was after midday yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. Well, yeah, I never miss food, obviously.
Yeah, I think I've got a special kind of autism where I can get to the home time from work and I'm like, what? Breakfast?
Right, we'll go to another question. Ian Pickup, the new Triumph 1200, the 1200 GS, or an Africa Twin? Well, I've not ridden the new Africa Twin. Have you?
I haven't actually ridden any of them.
Have you not?
No, not one single one.
Oh my God. Right, well, I'll take this one then. The new Triumph 1200 is too civilised. I think if you like to tour two up and you like smoothness, it's an incredibly smooth engine. And it has got power, but it doesn't feel like it's got power. You know, it just left me cold, to be honest. But if you like to tour two up, I think it would be a really good bike to do that on. Because there's plenty of grunt, but it doesn't make a fuss about it. 1200.
Terribly British.
Yeah, it is. It's very civilised. Yeah. The Africa Twin, I've never ridden, so I don't know. The GS, for me, the 1200 GS is the best bike in the world, apart from the 1250 GS.
Oh.
For me, 1250, hands down, is the bike I will go and buy next, at the moment. Just because it does everything a little bit better than the 1200 does. That's my answer. And I am not sponsored.
The difference 50cc can make, eh?
Honestly, yeah. The amount of people that have turned around and said, I don't really notice any difference. I mean, for me, it's literally night and day. It's chalk and cheese. But, oh well, never mind. Some people aren't. What's that? Sorry, I've just been taken back by this. Stephen Fletcher. Bruce, what's it like having spunk in your beard? Wow. It's a reference to beard spunk, people, obviously. Yes. Beard products available in the link down below. That's all we'll do on that. Right, last one, mate. We're on to the Twitter questions, and then we are done. Right, Fulch.
I've just seen one that. Well, you go. Maybe you've got a couple of the same ones, actually.
Would you agree that Sean Tiger, likeable rider, looks like a chunky Gary Barlow, and that Lamb Chops is a ringer for Wilfred Bramble, Steptoe Senior? And that's my mate. That's from my mate Fulch. Wow, Sean. That's a fantastic impersonation. Lamb Chops? Is that Lamb Chops?
No, it's me. It's me. It's all right, it's me.
Well, Chops he's actually replied. Chunky Gary Barlow, yes. Hold on a minute. All right. Wow, Sean looks like a chunky Gary Barlow. Sean's not chunky. Is he?
No. He's not that chunky.
I didn't think he was chunky. Says me at 20 stone. Greg Patterson, favourite Sabbath album and why? I don't know anything about Sabbath.
No, I'm sorry. I'm afraid I'm out of the loop as well.
Sorry.
My bad.
My missus is
Take that. I'm all over.
Oh my God. I'm not that bad. Right. How about this? We'll just do this one, last one then. Rob Campbell. Things that you wish you could have to make vlogging easier. For example, a Bluetooth GoPro mic and anything else you can think of. And the second part of the question, you've one tank of fuel left. Where in the world would you choose to use it? Things to make vlogging easier.
Well, I think a Bluetooth mic would be pretty cool.
Yeah, they do.
Although, but they did a while ago, didn't they? GoPro had a Bluetooth add-on.
Yeah,
and you could actually have a Senna headset.
Yeah.
Sync directly with a GoPro camera.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of it.
The problem with Bluetooth though is that the audio quality is terrible.
It's a bit shit, isn't it?
It's really tinny. And I've tried with the Cardo Pack Talks. I've tried because you want when you do these joint vlogs and stuff, when you're away, like the holy grail is to be able to capture that audio without everyone having a camera with a mic and all that. You know, if you could just capture the whole conversation,
get the chat,
it would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But you can't do that. So I thought, well, what if I patch a spare Cardo Pack Talk, like connect the output of the Cardo Pack Talk that would go to the speakers, connect that to a sound recorder, and then try that. So I did it, and it's just really tinny. It sounds like, your stereotypical, if you listen to a pilot talking on his system.
It's walkie-talkie audio, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's really treble heavy.
Yeah, I did the same with my trip to Scotland last year because I had my stepdad and my mum with me.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear what they had to say, so I actually soldered a cable directly to the speaker of the headset.
Yeah.
So that I could plug that directly into the camera. And for the most of the trip, it worked really well in terms of I got some sound. But yeah, as you say, it's really, really tinny.
Really
it's just
tinny,
super thin. It's like telephone.
I've just started doing some stuff with. By doing, I mean I'm in communication with Cardo USA, and I brought that thing up with them. I said, look, is there any way of doing this where we can capture the audio, but it be good quality, like the same quality that comes through the speakers? Is it possible to capture that? So they've kept very quiet. I don't know if they're going to do something about it.
I'm guessing it's probably some sort of a range problem.
Yeah.
With the higher fidelity can't go so far or something.
Yeah.
It's just
high fidelity.
The old problem of too little butter spread over too much bread, kind of thing.
Oh, I say, old boy. Yes.
Yeah. What?
Right. The second part.
I think the thing that would make the easiest though would just be, it's impossible, isn't it? It'd be a Nikola Tesla unending camera battery would be the best, the simple, biggest life improver for a vlogger would be the battery that never ends. That's all it is, isn't it? Our lives are, have I got any batteries?
Yeah.
Is the battery still going? Do I need to check? Oh, lads, I need to stop and change the batteries.
Yeah. But then
that's it.
Do you literally hit record and then leave it? Is that how you film stuff?
I used to, and now I do less of that. I do more recording when I think something's worth recording. And obviously the risk is you miss stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gambles, isn't it? It's just there's the risk of you either you do that and you miss some stuff maybe, or you do that and the batteries run out and then you miss stuff because your batteries are dead.
Yeah.
And
when I'm out doing stuff by myself on the bike, I will record in little bits. Definitely, on and off with the record button.
Yeah. With other people, you can't do it so much, can you? You need to keep it running in case something happens, and when you're talking to each other, and
you're literally like, if you're all using GoPros, that sort of depending on what the temperature is, 30 minutes is a good safe amount. So it's like synchronized watches every half an hour. How's look in the mirror? How's my battery doing? I reckon I got another 5-10 minutes of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So there is that. But the problem I find with that, if you had a never-ending battery, you would literally end up with 6 to 8 hours of footage to go through.
Yeah, it's true. But then the memory card becomes a problem, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Like already, the one I showed you earlier on was a 256 gigabyte card.
Yeah.
But if you fill on a tour, I've done it before. I've filled a 256 card every day on a 7-day tour.
Jesus,
it's a ridiculous amount of footage. It's insane.
But you
can't deal with that.
That's using the Sony though, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, the file sizes on the Sony is much bigger. On the GoPro, I've only got 128 gig card, and I film at 2.7K Pro Tune with, Super View at 60 frames a second, and I never fill the SD card ever.
Yeah,
on a full day.
I'm realising that now. Actually, now I've gone to the GoPros. The files are a lot smaller, which is good. Although because they use the HEVC codec, which is a more efficient coding codec, up to 50%. Well, don't you know?
Mine's got a record button, and it flashes red when you hit record. That's about all I know.
When I put electric in it, it goes light.
Yeah, magic happens and someone speaks. Right, dude. We have been on the go for 2 hours, 13 minutes, and it is now coming up to 10 o'clock at night. So
time flies when you're having fun.
I've loved it. Absolutely loved it. And next one we'll do in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to it.
Awesome, mate.
Just don't show any symptoms.
I know. You look after yourself, all right? Hope you and the missus stay
You too,
safe.
buddy. It's been great. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. No problem at all. And we'll keep in touch after this to figure out how we're going to get your footage to me, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Well, I think I've still got a couple of days of Google Drive
Okay.
stuff. So I could possibly do that tomorrow.
Okay.
If not, I'm thinking about booking in a bit of iCloud extra.
All received. I think I've got Dropbox, so I could create a folder. We'll get back to you in a second, folks. I could create a folder on Dropbox and share it with you, and you can upload to it. We could do that.
Yeah, whatever's good for you, mate. Whatever's good for you, honestly.
I'll have a look after this. But anyway,
I was thinking about trying and putting the video and the audio together for you as well before I send it over, just to make it a bit easier.
Don't worry about that. Just whack it through, and then I'll have both files that I can play with. Then,
all right,
with works and magic. Right, folks. Well, that's us. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had a great time, and
mate, it's been brilliant. It's been absolutely great.
There'll be more of this to come. So. Hit the subscribe button on the podcast. If you've not hit the subscribe button on the video, make sure you do that. Check out Andy's channel. I'll leave a link in the description. And show him some love. Look after yourselves, folks. Look after those that you love. Remember the social... what's it called? Social
distancing.
Remember social distancing. And don't be a dickhead. Let's get
and hashtag stay at home.
Hashtag stay at home. All right, folks. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. And we'll see you soon. Live your life.
Ta-ra.
Cool, man.